my family did. I am not the voices in my head. I am not the pieces of the brokenness inside. I am light. 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 I'm not the mistakes that I have made or any of the things that cause me pain. I am not the pieces of the dream I left behind. I am light. 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 Yeah. I am light. I am light. I am not the color of my eyes. I am not the skin on the outside. I am not my age. I am not my race. My soul inside is all light. All light. All light. Yeah. All light. I am light. I am light. I am light. I am light. Yeah. I am divinity defined. I am the God on the inside. I am a star, a piece of it all. I am light.
Good morning and welcome to Rebirth Sundays. This is Dana Beasley, your host this morning. Our regular host, our mama of the room, the Reverend Latanya Taylor, is resting. You all will notice that the platform will change as the months move forward, where we will have and feature many guest speakers upcoming, which is just a treat. So we are so excited about this, and this will also allow Reverend Latanya Taylor to rest and to move forward in some other journeys, to say the least, as we move forward in this season of growth. So we just thank each and every one of you for joining us this morning and showing up. I just praise the Most High for all of you that show up every Sunday and join us on the replay as well. But as I said, Reverend Latanya Taylor, affectionately known as our Rev Coach, our Juicy Mama, that priestess of passion, is resting today. And we just give thanks for her rest and pray that she will receive on the other side. And so this morning I'm going to come before you and just continue forth as we talk about the law of compensation. Last week, we went a little deep dive into the law of compensation and how it can affect our lives, how in our spiritual moments we just have to take a breath and regroup and see how we are reviewing compensation and how we are actually shifting our own compensation. And so last week, Reverend Latanya spoke a little bit about Job. And I got to thinking this week on Job and How Job had everything. Job had, family, cattle, home, stability. Job had it all. He was a rich man, a wealthy man. And then he just lost everything, right? Because of a spiritual settlement that had to be done. Something higher up than Job. So he lost everything, but yet he continued his daily rituals. He continued to pray. He continued to fast. He continued his daily rituals in how he reverenced God. And so when we look at that shift, we can see that even Job knew and understood how even when the pendulum shifts, we talked about the pendulum last month, even when the pendulum shifts, the fact that you can remain steadfast and grateful to God for what the next day brings, then you are blessed. The fact that you can stay in connection with God, the fact that you can stay steadfast and grateful to God, you can see that the next day brings even more. Whether it's more to what you think is negative, what we think is negative, what I think is negative, or bringing to the more of what we see as the positive, how we're compensated. But the only compensation that Job was interested in at the time of going through his afflictions was the to be kept by God compensation. See, Job wasn't interested in receiving back the wealth that he had. Job wasn't interested in getting back his children. Job was only interested in being kept by God. He was interested in taking that moment to give utter praise to God and show that when I am kept, when I am diligent, when I am set aside, set apart, when I am kept by the Holy Spirit, the universe, then that is my compensation. It's not the material things that he was surrounded with, but the spiritual, the on high. So we can see how that was the only compensation that Job was interested in. But how many times have we been in a Job perfect marriage, a Job perfect household, a Job perfect job, career, or the flip side, had to Job start over, had to have a Job regroup on everything. See, the pendulum swings both ways, even in the law of compensation. Compensation, the law of compensation in the book Working with the Law, by Raymond Hollywell. In the book Working with the Law by Raymond Hollywell, the law of compensation states, quote, "And the law is that he who becomes better will attract better and be given the greater things to do." I'm going to say that again. And the law is that he who becomes better will attract better and be given the greater things to do. Remember the parable? For some of you who've read the Bible, remember the parable about the master that left and entrusted 3 of his workers with equal shares of money. And the one that invested and doubled the money was the one that was rewarded in the end. So he who becomes better attracts better and is given greater things to do. In that parable, the reward was more to do. As you begin to attract more, there's more to do. There's more responsibility. There's more enlightenment. There's more knowledge. There's more oh, relationship building. There's more release. Some would say there's more stress, but I'm not saying that. I'm saying that there's more peace. When you attract more, when you do more, you attract more. When you attract more, there's more required of you to do. So I realized that I had been saying and saying and saying every week that I wanted to clean. And each weekend would go by and nothing would get done. So summer's almost out, school's almost in. So I was determined to get this yard cleaned. So yesterday I pulled everyone out of the house and cleaned the entire yard. We redecorated, we power washed, we cleaned and washed chairs, cleaned out the shed, threw away junk, just a real purge. A purge. The compensation that I was looking for in doing this was a cleared space, a peaceful area, a place that I could enjoy in the house that I live in, because I wasn't going outside to enjoy my deck because it was too junky. So it took me doing in order to receive. The compensation that I received was looking out and feeling peaceful, releasing junk that was just sitting stagnant, taking up space in vortexes. Releasing is a part of doing as well. Now, let me tell y'all, there was some emotional moments yesterday because my family had to come together and communicate, and there were some emotional moments yesterday. But knowing and stopping and breathing allowed me to get through those moments and my children to get through those moments. And the accomplishment of what was done yesterday was such a reward for all of us that it became overwhelming even for me. Now, we're not done, we're still going, but my point is, when we put out our efforts, we receive blessings. It takes us to move. We're waiting for the universe to move us. What about us moving with the universe? We're waiting to be lifted up on high. What about you reaching on high to be lifted up? There takes a little bit of effort, a little bit of doing on our side in order to receive the compensation. Now, I can go back into, let's look at how we're compensated, how we look at compensation, where we are compensating others. How are we compensating others? How are we compensating the utility people? How are we compensating the mortgage, the banks? How are we compensating the water people? How are we compensating babysitters, for those of you who have small children? How are we compensating the insurance companies? How are we compensating our parents, our siblings, our cousins, our aunties? How are we compensating our ancestors that came before us? How are we compensating those on high that moved mountains before? How are we compensating even ourselves? One small piece of compensation, even for self, is self-care. Taking a bath, a nice long hot bath, as compensation for your body putting up with the daily routines that we do. How are we compensating ourselves in our bank accounts? Are you investing in yourself? Are you investing in the companies? Are you spending money or are you circulating money? How are we moving in the law of compensation? When we can change our mindset and realize that we've been compensated to a certain extent, but to go beyond that takes an act of us, the I am within, the divine movement, even within your womb, our wombs, connected. When we can flow with the universe and move forward in compensation, then the blessings will continue to flow. In the book, Working with the Law, it also talks about success or prosperity does not need to be made. It just is. It always is. When you have success and prosperity, it is. It's there. You're not looking for it. You're not trying to achieve it. It's already there. How many of us have compensated ourselves with things that we don't even use? Things that are sitting on a shelf, just looking pretty. Things that we haven't touched in 10 plus years, serve no purpose or use. Why are we holding on? When you have prosperity, it's just there. It is. You utilize it. You live in it. It's a lifestyle. It's created with what you already have. It's one of my favorite quotes I saw many years ago, and it was an unknown author. It said, having what you, having what you want isn't, it'll come back to me. I just lost it. I apologize, you guys. But basically the quote talks about you got to have you got to want what you already have. Those things that you have to want it. The moment you stop wanting those things, release them. That's where prosperity comes into play. So we must value ourselves. We have to stop and think about how we're compensating ourselves. What is our value? What is our own worth? Am I enough for me? Every year, we take time in our jobs to go through an evaluation process, right? We have a mid-year and a year-end performance evaluation. That evaluation talks about how we performed in that year during those time frames, how we built relationships, how we pushed through a project, how we performed the habits coming in and going out, right? And so each of us look to have a high-rated performance on the things that we do in our jobs. But how are we performing in our lives? How are we performing at home in our relationships? How are we performing with family? How are we performing with our bank accounts? How are we performing with our investments? How are we performing with our attitudes, with our tongues? If we had to do an evaluation on ourselves today, would that be something that would rank a high performance? Now, normally in our job, a high performance means what? Compensation, more compensation, correct? You're doing more, you expect more, most of the time with a higher compensation. And it's that expectation that comes into play. But even in our lives, if we were to take a performance evaluation of our lives today, would we see that higher compensation? Would that performance evaluation warrant a higher compensation? See, we have to really dig deep into our spirits and check even where it starts with us. My hair, my toes, my feet, my skin, my scent, even with me, my womb, my softness, even with me. am I compensating? Am I compensating my joy? Am I compensating my peace of mind? We have to work with the universe, with the law of compensation. Change the mindset of prosperity. And that's how compensation will work with you. You got to step back, take time out, envision the things that you desire, but then there takes some movement. We can't sit in envisionment and not move. There takes some creativity, some action on our parts. We have to release in order to move. If you're weighted down, it's harder to move. If you're carrying too much, it's harder to move. Sometimes you have to release in order to move forward. Even to receive more, you have to release the things that are weighing you down, holding you back. In order to move with compensation, how you're holding your own value. You know, I think I spoke once before about when princesses were being married in ancient times. They were married off with a dowry, and they were worth their weight in gold. So she would sit on one end of a scale, and the prince that was coming to marry her would put the sacks of gold on the other end, and she was worth her weight in gold to marry the prince. How many of us have realized within our bank accounts our worth in gold? Do we even have any gold? Do we even know and understand that our value is measured in what we decide, what we create, how we give ourselves openly, waiting for the return? But if you're not receiving a return, sometimes you have to shift. There's times when the return isn't moving to the positive and it continuously falls to the negative. You have to shift from that investment and move to something else. Value yourself to know when to shift. So I'm going to close with, know that compensation starts with us. It starts with looking at how we run, how we manage, how we direct and guide even ourselves, our relationships with our household, our children, our families, our elders, our loved ones, those that we connect with. It starts there. How are we compensating and cultivating in those areas? Then we'll grow. Then we'll come together. So with that, I'm going to begin to open the lines as we all take part in sharing in this space. And so the lines are open. Please feel free to share your prayer requests, your aha moments, or anything that you would like to drip over with. So all lines are open. And this is the time where you all get to be the co-host and share in this space.
Good morning. This is Vanessa. Can you hear me?
Good morning. Yes, ma'am.
Hey, good morning. Thank you so much. Thank you. I just wanted to say thank you because compensation is starting to get clearer and clearer and clearer as I process it. And I can see how it speaks to who I am today and in my actions, and how it makes me think about who I'm being in each one. It's just making me take a different look.
Yes, thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah. When you start to get clear on compensation and realize how much of a part it plays in our daily lifestyle.
Daily.
Just about everything we do, we're either compensating someone or looking for compensation from someone. So, yeah, the rest of this month we're going to dive deeper. But thank you so much.
Thank you.
Coming forward. Anyone else?
Good morning.
Good morning.
This is Carol.
Hi, Carol.
Oh, hi. Oh, my goodness. I came on late, but however, this has really spoke to me because I was just, all week I just been like just giving my all to work because I got a new assignment and, just trying to get everything together, trying to learn the process and not taking care of my home as much as I should. And I get here and I just get frustrated and I'm like, oh my goodness. And I always see these repeating numbers and I've been ignoring those numbers as well. So yesterday I was like, you know what, let me look those up. And basically everything you're saying today is all around the whole message that I've been seeing, the numbers and getting myself together, giving my all to the job and not, getting compensation from them, but not doing my work at home, my spiritual work. And it just spoke to me at different levels on to, get to moving. Fulfill your tasks at home, stop procrastinating on the things that you should get done to get your compensation. Because sometimes you look at things and say, okay, I should have been moving on this, but you haven't because you've just been sitting there. You haven't been taking any action on it.
Yeah.
So it really spoke to me, and I'm grateful for this message this morning. I appreciate you.
Ashe, thank you, Ashe. Yes, that was good too because it takes a real awakening to realize that you haven't been moving. There are times in life when we can become comfortable and we're comfortable in the stagnant. So I give thanks for, even the moments of movement and knowing that we need to move forward. We'll move when it comes to that clock at work. We move when it touch that clock. But, then we won't move for, things that we desire, the things that we would like to see, the visions that we want to have come true. So, it's really reevaluating us.
Yeah.
So, Ashe, thank you. Anyone else? Prayer request?
This is Tommy. Hello.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. I want to say thank you for the message. It's so relevant, so on time, I believe, for all of us. I have noticed that when I'm in the right, I have noticed that when I come to myself and when I work my tools and when I do all that I can do, I have noticed that compensation automatically appears effortlessly. And so this week, I had a surprise. Gift, I guess you could say, of an opportunity to do some work on yesterday, Saturday, and it just came. It was something that I needed, and so I just want to say that when you are doing all that you can do, expect to be compensated by the universe. And I noticed that when I'm at peace, when I'm doing my prayer, when I'm doing my meditation, when I'm helping myself, when I'm helping others, and balancing my life, I'm compensated. Yeah. I'm compensated one way or the other. A Course in Miracles says that when you help yourself, you're helping two people. When you help someone, you're helping two people. And I truly believe that. My prayer request this morning is that I'm really in the process of birthing something that's really huge for me. And Tuesday is going to be a really, really, really big day, this Tuesday, day after tomorrow. And I just pray, my prayer request is that everything takes place in divine order. That everything will come forth in peace as it should be, and everything will come together as God will have it. And I know that God only wants good things for us. So that is my prayer request right now.
Ashe, may you have that and something sweeter. Ashe.
Thank you.
Okay. Anyone else? Those were some nuggets right there. It's a demonstration.
Yes.
Anyone else?
Hi, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, this is Catherine.
Good morning, Catherine.
I thank you for the message today, and particularly when you were speaking of purging and creating a clear space. I, too, for the summer, have had my projects, and some I've kind of procrastinated on, but some I've been moving forth with, like purging my clothes. And one thing that I see is that I'm feeling a lot better in my space. I'm feeling more clear. But also, for me, it speaks to self-worth and building on that self-worth, and then also keeping promises to myself. Because when I don't and when I procrastinate, I think sometimes it might maybe subconsciously put me in a funk, but definitely feeling much better, and because I feel like I'm taking care of myself and I'm keeping promises with myself.
Ashe. Ashe.
Ashe.
Yes. Yes, when we, so many times we'll get into that funk, that procrastination mode where we sit stagnant, and we have to realize where that's coming from energetically and spiritually. When you have stagnant energy that's not moving, it's like dust that just sits on the floor. It's not going to move unless we sweep it. And so sometimes you have to do an energy sweep and move forward. So I just thank God, give thanks, that we can all see that moving forward is a path that we all have to take. We have to take that first step. We're first cause. We have to take that step. That's why we learned how to walk.
Ashe.
So, I give thanks for movement. even universal movement, the earth moves. So why shouldn't we? Anyone else this morning?
Yeah.
Any prayer requests at this time? Yes, no, maybe so. Ashe. Okay, so let's just take time to take a breath. We can breathe in through our nose and out through our mouth. If you have anything going on in the background, just settle yourselves. And breathe in deeply through the nose and out through the mouth. Compensate your body, your lungs, for the breath that we allow to go through and the breath that we force to go through. Compensate our minds from overactivity to peacefulness. Focus on those things that just allow us to release. In that pause. And now, let's just call in the names of the divine feminine as each of our wombs will connect with peacefulness. Let's just call forth our mothers, our grandmothers, our aunties, and
Jesse Ray Williams,
Shirley Rice,
Mama
Carrie Jackson,
Magdalene Elisa,
Bernice Marshall,
Dottie
Hamlet,
Rosemary,
Catherine Hamlet,
Ashe.
Selma Britton,
Mel Ethan Copeland,
Benicia Marshall,
Amy Bailey,
Aunt Roberta,
Ashe.
Hazel
Ashe.
Shockley, Kendra,
Harriet Tubman,
Ashe. Ashe.
Gail,
Frances Cress Welsing,
Ashe.
Elsie Bailey,
Ashe.
Shirley
Eddie Mae
Chisholm,
Weaver,
Ashe.
Mariah,
Madam C.J. Walker,
Ashe. Ashe. We call you forth, Holy Mother, as we come humbly before you and just give thanks for all that you compensated for in past lives. We give thanks for all that you moved to do so that we may be where we are today generationally and where our children will be in generations to come. We thank you. We give thanks for all that you have done in your lives.
Thank you.
We give thanks for the universal spirit that moves and flows, that turns the earth consistently every day, that allows it to uphold in a space that can house so many people, creatures, spirits alike. We give thanks for your covering, for your protection,
Thank you. Yes.
for your guidance, your grace, your mercy. We give thanks for the doorways that open. We give thanks for the pathways that reveal itself. We give thanks for the connections and relationships that we can continuously reach forth with. I give thanks for Reverend Latanya and her ministry and her gifts. I give thanks for the blessings that have been bestowed in her life and the movement and progression that even she is compensating with and for.
Yeah.
I give thanks
Thank you.
for all that surround her as we continuously uplift her in the times of need and desire. We know that this sisterly space should not be taken lightly. We know that as we connect with one another, connect universally, that it is special and holy ground. We know that it is a right that we choose to take in this journey. As so many before us have taken their rites of passage journeys, we ask that you continuously show us which way to go.
Yes.
And these and all things that we do in the coming days, in the days that we know not what lies ahead, but we just automatically give thanks. Because we know as we move forward, it is your will, your divine will to be done. With all these things I pray, Ashe and Amen.
Ashe. Thank you.
So we thank you, ladies, for joining us. And I look forward to seeing your spillover in Good Girls Gone Goddess. And we will see you on the other side next week.
Thank
you.
Ashe.